Of all the bridges in the valley, the most celebrated had never been built. Everyone knew about it. Travelers asked about it. Children grew up hearing that somewhere in the collection of an old man named Sarin, there were drawings of a bridge so perfectly conceived, so elegantly designed, that engineers who studied them said it would have been the finest structure in the region, possibly in the whole country, if it had ever been constructed. It had not. It existed only in the drawings. And there were others, dozens of them. Sarin had spent his life designing bridges that no one had commissioned and nothing had required. When there was real work and there was enough to keep him comfortable, he built practical crossings over practical rivers, solid and unremarkable. But in the evenings and the early mornings and the long winters, he designed the others, the ones that existed only on paper. A bridge for a river that had dried up 300 years ago, designed as if the river still ran. A bridge connecting two cliffs between which no road passed and no one lived. A bridge so long and so light in its architecture that it seemed, in the drawings, to be almost breathing. His apprentice, a young man named Cale who had studied under 3 architects before Sarin and was thoroughly practical by training, endured this quietly for 2 years before asking about it directly. "None of them will ever be built," Cale said one evening, watching the old man work on a new set of drawings by lamplight. "No," Sarin agreed. "Then what are they for?" The old man did not look up. His hand moved steadily across the page. "Tell me," he said, "what a musician is doing when they practice." Cale considered this. "Preparing," he said. "Building skill. Getting ready." "Getting ready for what?" "For performance. For the real piece." Sarin set down his pen. He looked at the drawing. A bridge for an imaginary gorge impossibly graceful. "Every bridge I have ever built in the real world," he said, "was built better because of the ones I built only here." He touched the drawing. "When you work only on what is asked, you learn to answer questions. When you work on what no one asked, you learn to ask better questions." He paused. "The bridges I build for clients carry people across water. But these are where I learn what a bridge actually is." Cale looked at the drawing with different eyes. "What is a bridge?" he asked, before he could stop himself. Sarin smiled. It was the first time Cale had seen him smile in 2 years of working beside him. "That," the old man said, picking up his pen again, "is exactly the right question." He drew in silence for a while. "A bridge," he said at last, quietly, "is a decision. Someone decided that the distance between 2 places was not acceptable, that what was on the other side was worth the effort of reaching." He looked at the lamp flame. "The water underneath is just water. The stone is just stone. The bridge is the moment a person said, 'This separation does not have to be permanent.'" Cale went home that night and lay awake for a long time. He thought about bridges, real ones, imagined ones. He thought about the distances in his own life that he had accepted as permanent, the people he had stopped trying to reach, the parts of himself he had decided were on the other side of something uncrossable. In the morning, he arrived at the studio early. He sat at his own table. He picked up his pen, and for the first time in his life, he began to draw a bridge that no one had asked for, over a river that existed only in his understanding of what he had been afraid to cross. Every real bridge begins as an imaginary one, and every distance we accept is a bridge we chose not to build.